As the incoming president, I want to make sure that we continue our education process. When I first got elected, I thought I knew what I was doing, but I did not. So coming to these classes has helped me be a better mayor and a better leader, and it's helping the entire state when we can learn things from each other and learn how to do them legally within the boundaries of the state statutes.
Healthcare, and from an economic development standpoint, you know, a couple of years ago we really didn't consider it a targeted industry or an industry that brought in new jobs and investment from outside the state, but we're looking at it now from a broader perspective and looking at it, the ecosystem around healthcare and how you can build economic wealth. And so with healthcare, we understand there's a lot of opportunities to take advantage, what we call a cluster analysis, to take advantage of the assets we have here and expand upon those assets to create economic wealth.
What is the economic potential of the medical industry in the state of Mississippi?
Well, I'd say it's unlimited. It's one of the, 10 of the top 20 largest growing industry sectors are related to healthcare. So there's, it's definitely a growth industry. If you look at the demographics of the U.S. and Mississippi, there's going to be a lot of need for healthcare with those demographics. So it's really exponentially up to us as how far we want to go with it.
What's your recommendation to municipalities to be able to grow and develop jobs in the medical area?
Well, I think that's what we're doing this assessment for. We're looking at the statewide assessment, working with an outside consultant to look at our current assets and look at best practices across the country and look at the regulations and policies that are being put in place and come up with a strategy of how we deal with that with Mississippi. So my recommendation to those communities, we're looking both at urban and rural communities, is to pay attention to what the report says. It's going to have 10 actionable recommendations coming out of the report that are going to be applicable to Mississippi, and I think there's going to be a piece of the pie for everybody, big and large, in Mississippi.
The bottom line is a lot of our communities here in Mississippi, we're just rural by nature, which means we lack that critical mass of people and resources to do a lot of the things we want to do. We just don't have them.
My name is Joe Fertizzi, and I'm the Community Development Director with the Stennis Institute at Mississippi State. We are basically a technical assistance and research policy institute that's part of the university that helps communities all over Mississippi. In simplest terms, the goal of the Institute is to help build a better Mississippi, to provide assistance to local and state officials when it comes to making decisions and providing the information they need to help build better communities in a better state through some of the efforts they're doing within government.
Give us an example of some successful communities.
Well, successful communities are kind of all over Mississippi in a variety of ways. What we talked about today are some of the different strategies that different communities are using to be successful. While there's no set recipe for what they do, a lot of communities are starting to capitalize off their unique assets that they have and finding creative ways to improve the communities that they have. And all our communities are different, so the way they go about doing it is different, but there's some characteristics that they all kind of have in common, and that's what we talked about today.
And can you give us an example of a community that has been able to capitalize on those resources?
Yeah. One community that we'll talk about real briefly will be Water Valley. They've been in the news a lot lately, and talking about just some of the different individuals within the community, how they're stepping up as leaders and getting involved in the community with different initiatives. And we'll talk about that today, the need to get more people within the community involved in different roles and how the mayor and board can act kind of as door openers to get other people involved, as well as how communities are starting to redefine economic development in terms of looking at things like planning and design, historic preservation, natural resources, and how all those at the local level can be capitalized upon to improve their community.
Film and the production of film in a community is economic development. This is why we do it. It's why MDA has a program, Mississippi Film Office, because it is a different type of economic development, and I'm just an industrial developer like everybody else who's trying to get an industry into Mississippi.
What's the potential?
Oh, well, that's really unlimited. You look at a movie like The Help. The Help comes in and spends, $6 to $10 million in a town. The impact is $12 to $18 million, and that's in about a 6-month period, 7-month period. It's extraordinary. But even small films come in, hire a lot of local people. It's a very pervasive industry in that they're using your dry cleaners and your hairdressers and your liquor stores and your grocery stores and your hotels and your restaurants and everything. Their office supplies. It is a small business that comes to your town and sets up, like a small factory, say, that sets up and and does their job and then moves on. So It's a very good industry for economic development in a community.
The topic of the seminar is wireless priority service. Wireless priority service is a service offered through the National Communications Service that allows first responders and emergency responders to get priority access to the wireless networks in a time of emergency. So it is a federal program that the cities can sign up for and then have access during emergency so they can get their emergency calls through even if the networks are congested.
How can this be beneficial in Mississippi in case of an emergency?
It can be beneficial wherever you are in Mississippi during an emergency, whether it's here on the coast during hurricane season, if we have tornadoes in the Delta or in the Northeast. Anytime you have an emergency that puts a load on the network and people are trying to make calls, this will allow your first responders to have first priority access to the wireless network so that those key calls do get through.
And what's involved in getting this done?
To sign up, a city or a municipality representative will need to contact National Communications Service and sign up through them, and you indicate who your wireless carrier is to them, and they contact the carrier and get the service set up on your behalf.
What kind of response have you had to the program so far?
It's been very good, particularly down here on the coastal counties. Most of the cities and the counties are already signed up for it, and we've got several throughout the state that have signed up for it as well.
We're here today to talk about property cleanup. Cities have the authority to condemn unclean property, and we're going to walk the mayors and the Board of Aldermen through the process. We're going to talk about when they can do it and how they can do it, and we're going to tell them the proper procedure, notice requirements, so that they'll better understand it and be able to explain it to their citizens and be able to meet the constitutional requirements. The problem is a lot of these municipalities have dilapidated houses. They have unclean yards. There's a process in the Mississippi law that allows you to clean those properties up. The cities, if citizens are unhappy about a property across the street from them, then they can petition the government or the Board of Aldermen, and the Board of Aldermen can do something about it. They can go in there, clean the property, and then either assess the property owners for the cost of the cleanup. And in the event that the property owners don't pay for it, then they can sell the property at a tax sale, just like for anyone that doesn't pay their taxes.
I think one of the biggest issues that most municipalities face today is the problem that you have with overgrown lots and abandoned houses that are in a bad state of repair. I think that's a problem that we all face, and trying to get some easier legislation to get those issues taken care of, I think is on everybody's top of everybody's list right now.
What do you think a good solution is?
I think a good solution would be for it to be left into the hands of the municipalities so that each one of us can not have to go through so many different loopholes, I guess, if you will, to try and resolve these problems. I think if the legislature, the state would give each municipality the opportunity to be able to handle that themselves, I think would be a great help for all of us.
Why is this an important issue?
It's important because when you have people that live next door to some of these abandoned properties and some of these lots that aren't kept up, you have a problem with varmints, snakes, abandoned houses. You have issues with drug problems, people living in there doing drugs, vagrants living in there, especially in the wintertime, trying to stay warm, building fires, causing the house to possibly burn down, and even maybe jump over to the next lot, and cause problems for those homes. So it's very important to the adjacent landowners.
Are you encouraged by everything that you've heard and seen here during this convention?
Very much so. The Mississippi Municipal League does a great job. I actually serve on the legislative committee, and I think that's a very important committee, that you stay in touch with your legislators and make sure they are aware of the issues that the municipalities have.
We talked about what the issues are that faces small towns less than 1,000 people. Dogs, ditches, dirt, roads, you name it. We've got the same issues that large towns has, just on a smaller scale.
And what are your recommendations for smaller communities to deal with those issues?
A lot of prayer We do a lot of checking with larger towns, downscaling some of the things that they do to make it fit our situations.
Can you give us an example of something maybe that your town has done that has been successful that you might be able to pass along to other smaller towns?
One of the issues that in my small town that we've done is we had a major issue with dogs. Got with some of the larger towns who had dog issues and dog ordinances, and we adopted a smaller version of a dog ordinance from a larger town that has worked real well with our community.
What kind of response have you had from the residents?
Very good, very, very good. Most of the dogs that we had were strays, so everybody was in favor of it.
There's approximately about 85 black mayors in the state of Mississippi.
What are some of the major issues facing the caucus?
Well, we're looking at several issues. Annexation is one that's important to us. The issue of chartered schools is an issue that's important to us, and we also try to follow the agenda of the MML. That's why we're meeting, so we can figure out the direction that we want to go, so that we can set our agenda and put it out there so that we can deal with the MML and other entities to let them know what our stance is.
It was the state auditor update. We keep the public officials updated on the new legislation that's come out. We also update them on the budget laws, anything that might have changed with the budget law. Remind them they need to start their budget process now because it's kind of long and tedious. We talked about official travel and how it needs to be pre-approved. We talked about it keeping expenditures legal, just to keep everybody well informed.
What's your best advice to elected officials when it comes to these areas?
Follow what the statutes say. The statutes are written to protect them if they follow the statutes. That's why they're required to have surety bonds, because if they don't follow the statutes and they don't faithfully perform their duties, then we can file against their surety bonds and make the taxpayers whole again.
We're experiencing tremendous growth. That's one of them, and along with that comes budget constraints. And what we can do, we're working on infrastructure that's very old, on a very limited budget, so that's a constant struggle. But I would tell you that growth and budgetary concerns are probably at the top of the list right now, maybe for everybody.
And what are some of the solutions that you see, potential solutions?
Well, effective management is one. You know, we're just taxed so heavily right now. It's difficult for us to raise taxes, and you know, we look for efficiencies in our budget, and we look for better ways to manage what we have. Is the way that's the road we're taking on it.
And do you have any examples that might be beneficial to other cities and towns?
Well, you know, you just have to comb through everything. You know, we are proactive with that budget, and you know, that's what I suggest. You take a hard look at yourself first. That's our philosophy.
What is your advice to municipalities regarding using social media?
Well, the main thing is to get connected and start to create those relationships, because really everything's about relationships. You want to use those relationships to get the important messages from your municipality out to your citizens, but then also have a convenient way for people to give you feedback about how things are going, just to create that line of communication with the ease of the internet.
What are the advantages to municipality in using social media?
The cost, mostly. It's a very inexpensive medium to use. It's free, and it has a lot of reach.
Primarily, the biggest issues facing our city is infrastructure. We have as an older city, we have a lot of infrastructure that's been in place for 70, 75, 80 years, and therefore it's beginning to deteriorate, and that's causing a lot of problems and infiltration into some of our lagoons, and we've got some way to fix that, plus the EPA restrictions on the wastewater runoff and so forth that we have. They're getting tighter all the time, so it's getting to be a problem to stay in compliance with their requirements.
We're always searching for ways that we can fund projects. You know, when sales tax are down and there's limited funding available through the state, we're always looking for inventive ways or unique ways to fund projects and do special things that will benefit our citizens.
Give us some examples.
Well, you know, when the state cuts back on different fundings, homestead exemption, or sometimes they give us mandates that require additional sales tax from us to meet, you know, what they're trying to make us do, it really puts a hurt on us to provide just basic services.
What would you like to see happen? What's a good solution?
Well, I think our league's done a great job in working with the legislature in the recent years to try to sit at the table with them before they come up with a new law or a new mandate and say, hey, here's, you know, here's some of the things that we're looking at and some problems that we may see that, you know, down the road if you implement something like this. And I think we're starting to get a better ear in the legislature to, you know, in listening to our concerns, and that's going to be a big help.
As you all know, the Excellence Award Program has been around since 1993, and this is the opportunity for the Municipal League to recognize in front of our entire membership innovative projects that are being done at the local level. We have a panel of 4 judges with no affiliation with the league who come in and judge the applications, and every year they tell me that it's so heartwarming for them to read about the wonderful things that are going on in our cities and towns. And they always have a hard time making their choice, but they have to make a choice. So let's announce those winners at this time. We'll start with the City Spirit under 10,000, the town of Pelahatchie for the party tank. During the revitalization of downtown, the Public Works Department was moved to another location with the exception of an old rusty recycled water tank. Mayor Knox Ross realized that this unsightly tank had great potential and began the quest for what it could become. After much thought and many suggestions, it was decided to transform the old tank into a party tank to be used for birthday parties, special events, a summer reading program, family reunions, and a nice shady place for citizens to enjoy using the Wi-Fi in the town. It was at a minimal cost that the tank was cleaned, sandblasted, and painted, with plans underway to add the town's logo. Congratulations to Pelahatchie. Our next winner is City Spirit, the City of Tupelo, for the Mayor's Healthy Tupelo Task Force. This group had the goal to make Tupelo the healthiest city in Mississippi. The task force operates solely on funding from grant money and local contributions. One of their proudest accomplishments is the creation of Health on a Shelf, a program which encourages citizens to eat healthy food at convenience stores. The program encourages these stores to prominently display nutritious food and snacks in a special area of the store, and all the items have fewer than 250 calories and less than 5 grams of fat per day. There are 10 Health on the Shelf locations in the city. The task force has also launched a free bike helmet program, hosted the Mayor's Marathon, and has sponsored the Trim Down Tone Up Tupelo for a total weight loss of 2,000 pounds. Congratulations to the City of Tupelo. Our next award category is Planning and Economic Development. This is for under 10,000, the City of Ellisville, the landing of GE Aviation. Because of the cooperation of the city, Jones County Supervisors, MDA, and the EDA in Jones County, the Howard Technology Park was developed, which made the building of GE Aviation a reality. Having a project-ready park is very important to a prospect looking to locate. The 504 acres park has underground utilities, lighted and landscaped boulevards, and protective covenants. GE Aviation will provide 250 new jobs to the area with an average salary of $34,000. It is anticipated that additional spin-off jobs will also be created. Congratulations to the City of Ellisville. For Planning and Economic Development over 10,000, the award goes to the City of Hattiesburg for their Hattiesburg Historic Neighborhood Revitalization Project. In 2011, the American Planning Association designated the City of Hattiesburg's historic neighborhood as one of the 10 great neighborhoods in America. This historic neighborhood was founded in 1984 and is adjacent to downtown Hattiesburg. The neighborhood is well maintained with 23 block areas comprising approximately 400 structures with 115 acres. The residents of the neighborhood serve on the governing board, and the organization is supported through an annual dues assessment and annual events such as the Victorian candle lighting and the downtown crawfish jam. Congratulations to the City of Hattiesburg. Our next category is public safety. For the under 10,000 category, the award goes to the town of Plantersville. Their project is called Accident Avenue to Safety Street, how the police department took control of Central Street. Central Street had long been a problem for the town. At the intersection of Central Street and Highway 6, too many accidents were occurring, some with life-threatening injuries. The police department, under the leadership of Chief Maury Shue, developed a three-pronged plan to combat the problem, including enhanced traffic enforcement, a speed study, and the establishment of additional stop signs. The result, no traffic accidents along this major road in all of 2011. Congratulations, Plantersville. Public safety over 10,000, the City of West Point. The active warrant list posting. The need to collect old fines and the ability to do so is a challenge most municipalities in our state face. The active warrant list posting was developed by the police department in West Point to increase public awareness of the mandate for violators to pay off old fines. The posting uses both local media and social media as a means to reach offenders and use their families and friends to influence and encourage them to meet their obligations. 20 to 40 names are printed at least bi-monthly or as often as the local newspaper has space. Even though all the names on the list are not published every time due to space restrictions, the offenders realize that by printing them randomly, no one really knows whose name's going to appear on the list. Names are also randomly posted on the police department's Facebook page. Between 2011 and February of 2012, over $145,000 in overdue fines was collected. Congratulations to the City of West Point. Our next category is Public Works, and for Public Works under 10,000, the award goes to the town of Taylorsville for a Public Works training they held. When making plans to replace an existing culvert, the town board realized that a water line would have to be replaced in the process. The decision was made to add 2 insert valves, a first for the town's water system. The town partnered with the Mississippi Rural Water Association to sponsor a hands-on training for the operators who would have to do the work. The participants had some classroom time of instruction on the process and then moved to the hands-on phase of the class where the first valve was installed. The group continued with the hands-on training, and the second valve was installed after their lunch. The ultimate outcome of the project was that the towns will save time and money with fewer interruptions in service to water customers. Many of the operators who participated received CEUs from the Rural Water Association. Congratulations, Taylorsville. For Public Works over 10,000, the award goes to the City of Picayune for their Operation Help Desk 311, one call to City Hall. The program created a system by which calls to the Public Works Department are posted instantly in a database which categorizes and establishes a paperless record and instantly sends the request to the designated departmental supervisor. It can be accessed by a web-based search engine by an individual. The results of the program are that citizens now have the highest possible level of customer service with access to city services, city information, and non-emergency services. And the Public Works Department can now track work and provide a record and a history of responses and services. Congratulations to the City of Picayune. Our final award is chosen from all the applications, and it's the best overall application for 2012. The winner of the award is the City of Ocean Springs. Ocean Springs Public Safety Center, how we got there. After many years of planning and seeking innovative financing, the city's Public Safety Center was recently opened. As far back as 2003, the city has recognized the need to upgrade its police and fire facilities, but the need was underscored after Hurricane Katrina in 2005. The city successfully lobbied the legislature to pass a local and private bill in 2007 for the authorization of a referendum. The city launched an aggressive campaign to convince voters to support the measure. $25,000 in private funds was raised for signs, pamphlets, and commercials for the 2 cents Make Sense campaign. As a result, the referendum to raise the sales tax from 7% to 9% on food and beverages establishments passed with 67% of the vote. With the funds available in 2008, the board obtained a grant from MDA and purchased property for the center. Then came the process of obtaining public input on the design of the building. Construction began in 2009, and the ribbon cutting was in December 2011 and February 2012. The success of this project has inspired other cities to pursue similar funding for their own public safety and recreational projects. The City of Ocean Springs stands ready to provide help and advice to other cities. Congratulations to Ocean Springs. This concludes the Excellence Award presentation. We have so many good applications, and we always encourage you to submit your projects each year. We will take group shots after the luncheon is over. Thank you.
We want to further the mission of the Mississippi Municipal League. The league has 81 years of excellence in its history, and we want to add to that vision that's already in existence. We want to make our league be the premier resource center for our cities in our state. We want to improve the educational opportunities through our CMO educational classes that we offer. And we want to be that information center to provide the best that we can, the best information that we can to our people in our member cities.
If people have questions or like more information, what should they do?
Well, call our office. We've got a number of staff people, although it's a small staff in Jackson, Mississippi, and we'd be glad to either answer those questions or refer them to someone that can.